Your room is disgusting.
I agree.
Why are you even here? For Naomi to be here is one thing. For Sei as well, it's a situation I didn't expect to find myself in. From departing with Kyoko, it didn't take long for Naomi to sprint up to us with her abilities. But to then say, "I'm tired, let me in the rest," defeats the whole purpose of using the energy to run up to us in the first place. And she doesn't even look tired. Of course, Saya had to come in as well, contradicting what she said earlier.
There's a surprising lack of tissues in here.
Pointing towards my bin, all I can do is sigh as Naomi continues to rummage through my room. Why are you even looking? Do you get off on this or something? I thought you hated me.
No, I don't hate you.
Yet she doesn't deny the thrills from invading my privacy.
Check beneath his bed. There's probably a sock under there.
Don't look under there! Naomi, reaching in cautiously with her hand tucked away into her jacket sleeve, slowly drags up what I absolutely didn't want her to see. A strewn collection of magazines, each one slightly worn from years of use. This didn't have to happen.
Origami digest.
What's wrong with having a hobby? You like running, right? Kyoko likes science.
I knew you were a weirdo, but I'd feel less disgusted if I actually found porno.
Me too. Who gets off to origami?
That's not what they're used for. Why would anyone use porno mags in this day and age when we have the internet? Almost in sync, Naomi and Saya look towards my desk. My laptop, still on standby, makes a whirring noise, adding more pain to the silence. Don't even think about it.
I wouldn't want to touch it anyway.
That stumble says otherwise. If you're so disgusted, why don't you just leave? I do have work to do.
I thought you would have wanted to spend time with me. I wanted to spend time with you.
Naomi trails off, looking blissfully towards the window with a look of thought within her eyes. I wonder what she's thinking.
Anyway, I should probably get going.
If she's going, then I'll join her. But thanks for the tour.
It's not as if you were invited. Walking towards my door, I let out one last set of words to the girl before me, caught up within her own melancholic world. Naomi. Turning round, she stares at me with a set of weary eyes before looking away with a soft blush. Thanks for today. I enjoyed it. Stopped by a brief bit of hesitation, Naomi finally manages to speak up after leaving her mouth ajar, thoughts hanging in the air.
I enjoyed it too.
My heart now beating. It's those words which could hear again and again, her voice. Naomi. Morning sunlight seeping through the windows. The class settles down to stay silent as the usual study session begins. A usual atmosphere rife with conversation, gossip, and giggles now tranquil as we focus on the work before us. Well, most people. Having spent the day yesterday with Naomi, Can't help but think more about the relationship between the two of them. The world I'd happened to uncover all from opening one small door. It's a situation I couldn't have expected to find myself in. What normal guy goes about his high school life trying to make people friends again? I really could be doing something else. But it's not as if I'd want to. Catching up with the scribbles on the chalkboard, I avert my eyes from the light and duck my head down into the book with haste. I really don't want to be caught out by the teacher. The striking of the bell marks the end of class once again. The previously muted chatter and gossip now spring fully back into action as the class erupts with noise. It's lunch, so no doubt something interesting is bound to happen. Recently, after having spent so much time with Kyoko and Naomi, my daily life is always filled with uproar and cute moments which I miss if things revert to how they were before. Both of these girls are now part of my life. They're my friends. I want them to be friends again too.
Natsumi, I forgot my lunch money. What? Again? It's not my fault.
Walking through the convoluted room, classmates sprawling in, out, and around the room during the break. I approached Kyoko's desk as usual to find herself focused intently on something in her hands. What are you doing?
I'm trying to fix it.
Peering down towards the item, all I can see is a small plastic pipette embraced between her small, pale fingers. You're not going to fix that.
I can.
The pipette, clearly bent out of shape, remains dented and twisted no matter how hard Kyoko tugs and presses on it.
What if I try biting it?
That's not going to work.
Whatever. I'll just get another one from the club room. I'll have to see you later. There's work to do.
That, or she just wants more time to try out the new goodies she bought yesterday, knowing all too well that I'd favor eating over experiments. Alright, do you want me to bring you back anything?
It's fine.
Not even an orange juice?
I brought my own.
Raising her hands in her usual happy manner, Kyoko smiles widely, shouting out her words energetically, enough so to get us a few looks. Still, seeing her like this really is sweet. Her cute, puffy cheeks gracing her silky brown hair, and she takes a moment to finally tie it back in her trademark style.
I'll see you later.
I'll see you too. Leaving Kyoko to her business, she treats me to one last glimpse of her cute, captivating smile before I head out into the corridor. And Santa's students, still present, remain muffled behind the walls as I make my way down the now emptying corridors. It's no surprise to be late to lunch, but it's not as if I really mind. What with Naomi being one to prowl to school during lunch breaks, maybe I can actually find her and tell her what I've learned from Kyoko. It's either that, or the desire to speak to her itself pushing me further towards the cafeteria. As usual, the cafeteria is full of life as the people around gather at tables to eat and talk. Their daily routines. The stragglers, like myself, let to fend for the remaining food they can get as the noise within the room increases to that of typical school levels. The now afternoon sun, now beating through the windows, leaving me famished for a drink as I stroll leisurely towards the vending machines. To be honest, I need something to refresh myself after dealing with all the commotion this past week.
Where do you think you're going?
Stopping me in my path, I almost choke as Naomi speaks up, grabbing me by the collar she does so. Her skin briefly skirting across the back of my neck, it's still as soft as I expected it to be. Considering this was the girl I had a problem with looking at me, she seems awfully comfortable confronting me with most of the school as her audience. I'm going to get a drink.
Here.
Thrusting a ball into my hands, the chill of the drink and the warmth of her hands mixed a unique sensation at my fingertips. Her face, showing what's now a commonly embarrassed expression, is shyly shifted away from my own as she continues to speak up.
Come with me. Please.
Naomi, now tucking in my sleeve, looks up with a shyly woeful expression, a look coating her face that I'd rather not see, in contrast to her usual beauty. Even if I do face her wrath, her usual insults and jabs, I can't deny that she is rather attractive. She didn't top both the guys and girls list for no reason. Walking along with her, my eyes catch the heads of various people in the room tilt towards us. Sure, it's not that many, but her presence doesn't go unheeded in the room, a true reflection of Naomi's popularity. Despite spending so much time with her, despite getting so close to her, I can't see her as the person I thought she was anymore. Someone who is unreachable by the likes of me, superstar, the popular girl. I'd always thought she could get any guy she wanted, and she can. But it's not as if she wanted to. Walking out onto the corridor, Naomi once again speaks up, a voice I'm used to and rather fond of hearing.
We should probably go somewhere quiet. I want to talk.
About what?
Come on. It's not as if you don't know by now. I want to talk about Kyoko.
I did. That's always good to ask. Continuing on past the array of classrooms, my wary eyes watch out through the glass trying to spot out the very girl in both our minds. It's evident she'd find out eventually. She'd find out all about the type of relationship I've had with Naomi, that we become friends. As the afternoon light pierces through the tiny slithers of window along the corridor, Naomi's grip slides down from my sleeve and towards the embrace of my hand. A nervous feeling. She's shaking. The warmth she's held inside her, shaking about in my palm, grows ever closer as all she does is continue to tighten her already fierce, lonely grip.
This way.
Trailing around the school, we find ourselves bursting through the main doors into the fresh air outside. The world fading into silence as the sounds of students grow ever so muffled in the building behind us. The warmth of the sun complements Naomi's own, as both of us are graced by a passing spring breeze. Her hair, swaying softly in the wind, shines in the sunlight as she stands with her back towards my eyes. Are you sure we're even allowed out here? The question flies past her, giving instead a blank response as she continues to stare off into the distance. Just now isn't the time for our usual back and forth routine. This is the real Naomi. You want to talk about her, right?
No. I just wanted to ask how your day was. Of course it's about her.
Turning to face, Naomi's eyes are filled with sadness seldomly seen from her. Yet one I've come to know. Her lips remain firm, locked in the sorrow-filled frown as they glisten in the light, matching the teardrops hanging from her eyes. Taking a short breath, words once again start flowing from her heart.
I just really want things to be normal again. I don't know what to do.
It's kind of granted that our plan, our attempts, to unravel Kyoko's heart and tie it with her own haven't been working out as well as we'd hoped. The feelings Kyoko holds are locked behind the thoughts of betrayal, regret, and sorrow that separated them in the first place. I believe she can't forgive her. But as long as those feelings are there, there's always a chance. I can understand.
What makes you say that?
Naomi's face fills with a mix of hope and confusion, tears still occasionally falling from her face as she wipes at her eyes with her sleeve. With her blazer being battered about by the breeze, she really does look beautiful, even if it's a beauty filled with sadness. I have been talking to her. Wasn't that the reason you asked for my help? It's not as if I didn't want to. I want to see you happy.
But, Kyoko...
Her voice now filling further with despair, Naomi averts her eyes away as if to hide her emotions from my sight. An act of reservation from a girl usually dominating the world around her. Naomi, this whole time, has just been fragile. The heart inside her, broken, has only just begun to bleed with true emotion. Kyoko was just upset at the time. Wouldn't you be? It would have been hard to forgive you, having been thrust into loneliness. You were there for her. But do you think she could see that? Would it really have been clear for her? She just needs time to see the truth. She needs to see you really matter to her. Naomi lifts her head, only slightly, from its sunken state. It's not to see she's crying. If you were truly friends before, I'm sure Kyoko would be more than willing to forgive you once she's had time to gather her thoughts. You just need to keep trying. Now in full view, Naomi's tear-coated face catches the sunlight, teardrops sparkling in the sun like diamonds. All it comes from are her whimpers and ragged breaths as she finally opens her eyes. A deep ocean of azure, glossed over with the shine of tears as she wipes them away. Teardrops soaked into her shirt and sleeves.
You know what? You're right. I'm sorry for dragging you into this. I bet you had no idea that things ran this deep between us. Did you?
It's not as if I didn't want to help. Not just for Kyoko's sake, but more importantly for your own.
I don't need you looking down on me.
I'm not. I've been through with this with you, haven't I? I just want to see you happy.
Thank you.
With those words, Naomi continues to wipe away the sadness from her face, quickly gathering composure. Seeing her like this, it's captivating. Her heart being truly made clear as her feelings are released from their cage. She really is something.
Anyway, we should probably head back inside before people see us. Class will start soon.
Are you still concerned about being seen together? I thought by now that you'd stop caring.
I mean that the teachers will see us here. You idiots.
For once, it actually took effort for an insult to get out. A sign of sweeter things. With a smile, Naomi lets the feelings rooted in her heart known to the world. You are the only one here to witness them. The sight, picturesque, as Naomi's hair is gracefully ruffled against the wind, her body lit by the afternoon sunlight.
Come on. I'll treat you to something after school.
Like what?
Just a few snacks or something, jeez.
Even then, snacks with Naomi would have been a pipe dream not so long ago. Closing the gap between us, Naomi briefly takes me in her embrace as she whispers into my ear. Her warmth, her scent, ever so close.
Thank you. I really mean it.
Letting go, her warmth fleets into surrounding air as I brush my hand against my ear. Naomi, letting out a small giggle, skipping ahead of me with the world as her backdrop. All this time, having her as a friend, it's been great. It's something I can be happy about. The feelings inside me, not nestling. Not that all we can do now is look towards the future. If it weren't, she wouldn't have let me see her cry. The only other person I can think she would is Kyoko. However, as the story between the three of us developed, the fire within my heart won't subside. The embers of life once filled with dissatisfaction, confusion, and angst now alight with newfound passions. My life. Being around these two really isn't healthy. But I like it. As the rays of sunlight peek through the windows lining inside the classroom, the warm allure brightens that which surrounds us, giving light to the fact that class is over. A metaphorical sigh of relief almost resonating out from my classmates as a teacher routinely dismisses us for the day. With the usual funnel of people out of the room now beginning, the thoughts of earlier passed through my head once again as I take in the scene before me briefly. Mimi's tear-soaked face, looking on towards me with a thin glimmer of hope within her saddened eyes. The look of a girl overwhelmed by her problems, seeking out any form of help she can get her hands on. The thought of Naomi's popularity once again coming to mind. Being able to see her like that myself must go to show how close we really are. The distance which was once between us now faded as we worked together towards a better future for her, Kyoko. Yet the sights of her woe is still too vivid in my mind. All I can do is think about the shape of her smile and the sounds of her laughter. The signs of some form of happiness still left within her sorrowed heart. Such things bring warmth to my own. As the sun continues seeping through the windows, a tranquil look of calmness fills the room as the specks of dust sparkle in the air. The shadows of passing students, slicing through the light as I too join them raising my seat. Looking towards Kyoko, still sitting at the front of the room, thought of breaking away from the cloud to meet with Naomi springs to mind. I hadn't considered earlier, but Naomi has never been the one to understand my obligation to meet Kyoko. Moving my feet in rhythm, I make my way towards Kyoko's desk before stopping with a moment's hesitation. She looks low. Having just dealt with one outburst from Naomi, having a day filled with sorrow really wouldn't be invigorating. Are you okay?
No, it's all over.
What?
They kicked me out of the lab. I'm not allowed back in till tomorrow.
Why's that? Go on. Hesitating briefly, Kyoko's face becomes increasingly flustered as she looks down towards her desk. Such a tranquil sight quickly sprang back to that Kyoko's energetic self.
Drop the flask, okay? There. There's now a hole in the floor. It had acid in.
And you didn't get expelled for that. Why?
Because they called me a good girl. Or something like that. just to keep getting good grades.
Alright, where would we be without her? Seeing how good her grades really are firsthand would be something to witness, but with midterms right around the corner.
Hey,
Sorry, what? I guess I zoned out.
I said I'll have to cancel the club for today. There's not much we can do together here.
It's a shame, but given how I was bound to be leaving anyway to meet with Naomi, I guess I can call it convenient too. Kyoko's face still carries a look at the Jackson as she rubs her temples gently, mulling over whatever thoughts are floating in her head. She too, just like Naomi, carries the same traces of happiness and sorrow sprinkled throughout her daily life. I'll just have to keep building up my excitement for tomorrow's club meeting then.
You're excited? Me too. I really wanted to show you the new stuff I bought.
Finishing her sentence with a smile, Kyoko leaps up from her chair enthusiastically, banging it onto the desk behind her.
Anyway, we should probably get going.
An embarrassed look on her face, Kyoko appears towards me meekly as she plays with her hair gently. I swear she had it tied up earlier. You can go on without me. I need to stay behind. Restroom break.
Thanks for telling me. But I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
Wearing your mask of contemplation, Kyoko looks briefly away before fixating her gaze back towards me with a smile. It's cute seeing her like this, being able to take her in. Okay, see you then. Striding out of the room together, the trail end of the adjacent classes filing out each room greets us. A scattering of students are lingering about in the corridors, heading off in all sorts of directions. Home, club activities, even a few delinquents hanging around by the lockers. It's a usual sight for sure, but my awareness of their presence quickly diminishes as I take one last look at Kyoko. Her lips curled up into a final smile as she waves goodbye, her silky hair flowing down her back as she turns away. The one girl now leaving for a day, thoughts of the other creep back into my mind as I make my own way down the corridor towards the stairs. Naomi. Knowing her, she's probably waiting for me at the gym. That or the cafeteria. With each step I take, my heart beats in its own rhythm as I keep dwelling on the thoughts of her. Having had an interesting relationship with her so far, it's weird to think that I'm actually looking forward to seeing her. For once, the thoughts of being insulted or berated over existing are tucked beneath the covers of a newfound feeling in my heart. The feeling of wanting to see her smile. The feeling of being with her. Standing within the midst of the gym hall, a quick scan of the room shows no signs of Naomi. In fairness, finding her would be looking for a needle in a haystack, given a place like this. Activity surrounds me as members of various sports clubs fill the hall, the shouts and cheers ranging from the athletics team to the gymnasts. Even the basketball team preparing for a training match.
It sure is busy in here, huh?
Yes, it is. You're supposed to say guess who before covering someone's eyes?
Yeah, but I figured you'd know it's me anyway. It's a different surprise, which I don't want you seeing.
The feeling of her warm hands against my face now fleeted. The sight of the world turns to me as Naomi steps out in front. An oddly warm smile coating her face. It's a nice sight.
Ta-da!
Thrusting out a small box before her, I look down to see and determine food through the paint-tinted plastic as the light from above shines down upon it. A small, delicately crafted lunchbox within her hands. You made that? From being disgusted by my presence and threatening me in all sorts of ways, this certainly is a striking change.
Do I really have to say it? Yeah, I did.
Thanks.
It's not for you. We're going to share it.
Giving an embarrassed look, Naomi spins around, giving me a better look at her back. Having tied her hair up, the usual spray of auburn is nowhere to be seen in her twirl, but as she walks further ahead, I can't help but move my eyes downwards. The spats aren't compulsory.
What are you doing? Come on.
Peering back towards me, Naomi continues again, walking towards the bleachers as I quickly catch up to beside her. A newfound character, the girl whose life was once filled with a deep regret. I guess I know she's realized what she must do. She can begin to overcome her past mistakes. She can start being happy again. That is, Kyoko truly accepts her feelings of guilt. Sitting beside her on the bleachers, Naomi shows no sign of discomfort as she begins opening the box and prepares 2 sets of chopsticks. In all honesty, this feels like some kind of date. I'm surprised she isn't on the offensive with this one. Where'd you get the idea of sharing lunch with me?
Earlier, after you talked to me.
So, where'd you find the time to make it?
You thought I bought it from the store, didn't you?
Oh, but...
What an ass. I went home to make it if you really wanted to know.
You skipped class?
Yeah? What's wrong with that?
Now in the midst of eating a small sausage carved into the shape of an octopus, I can't see how this situation can get any more cliched beyond the point of recognition. Having gotten used to Naomi's feisty attitude, seeing her eat lunch so complacently offers a new insight into who she truly is.
Want some?
Sure, but this is really uncharacteristic of you. Naomi, swallowing down her food quickly, takes a brief moment to bat her eyes away as she lights up with red coating her cheeks. Silence falls upon us before she continues speaking once again.
What's your impression of me? Really?
Seeing her face sunk into a state of embarrassment, I can't help but think of it as an opportunity to confess what feelings about her really are. You just seem... bold. I didn't think we'd ever be so close to eat lunch together.
I try my best.
Responding with a shrug, Naomi continues to tuck into her homemade meal as I join her, taking the second pair of chopsticks between my fingers. I never figured that I'd get the chance to eat the cooking of a school's idol, but here I am. This is good.
Thanks. I mean, of course it is. I made it for you.
Seeing your cute, flustered face ignites a feeling of embarrassment in my own. My heart not being like the drums of a marching band, leading me down a path of not only confusion but wonder of our future together. It's soon to say we're now friends. I don't see her disappearing after she confronts Kyoko with her feelings, no matter how their time together unfolds. Hearing that coming from you, school's dream girl certainly is weird.
Really? I wouldn't think of myself like that.
Well, most guys would kill to eat your homemade food. Not so that I can't help but be suspicious of the glares coming from a few people around the hall.
Perhaps you shouldn't complain then. After all, I chose to become friends with you.
As long as you keep giving me food, I think it'll stay this way. It really is good, surprisingly.
I'm glad you like it. I spat in it after all.
What? Chucking in my food, Naomi slaps my back in earnest as the rice I was just eating forces its way back up my throat.
I was joking, you idiot! Do you really think I'd do that? What sort of weirdo do you think I am?
Not a weirdo, but someone who's held an intense dislike for me in the past. One that hangs around other weirdos, like me.
You're not a weirdo.
She seems to have gone back on days worth of insults, yet hearing that without a sarcastic inflection eases my heart. As we continue to eat together, the food in Naomi's small, cute container quickly diminishes as our once active conversation drifts into nothing more than silence. Both of us embraced by each other's presence. Such a scene would have been unimaginable only a week ago, sitting here in the midst of the gym eating lunch with the Naomi Sato. A girl with such a high status around the school, now sitting beside me is someone I can only think of as a regular girl. However, I know such a regularly is so far from the truth of who Naomi really is. The question itself about her true feelings still leaves me scratching my head. Finishing up the food before us, Naomi looks at me with a smile as she still keeps her chopsticks pressed between her lips. Nothing. I was just wondering if it was okay for me to distract you from club activities. You're supposed to be the captain, aren't you?
That isn't nothing, then. But look around you.
Taking my eyes away from her, a glance around the hall shows no signs of bustling activity which once surrounded us.
Everyone's gone home.
Have you been here that long?
It's not like I mind.
Time itself having flown by, Naomi remains complacent as she stares back towards me with a shade of red coated across her puffed cheeks. Seeing such cuteness shining out from her fuels, an indescribable feeling within my heart. It's a picturesque scene in what has been a saga of events for the two of us. Well, we should probably set off too. Thanks for the food. Can't help but stutter. I've never had a girl make food for me like this. It's an even weirder experience from having her make it.
Thanks for eating it. I used to eat lunch like this with Kyoko.
Now looking pensively towards the floor, the same feelings of dejection pass over as she fidgets with her fingers. The girl I'd once thought of as bold, now timidly trapped in the web of her own emotions. Did you ever make lunch for her like this?
What? No, I wasn't her maid. That was a thank you. To you. You've done a lot for me. I can't give that back. But I have to be the one to try harder to convince Kyoko. I want to make things right.
All this time, the passion of flame in Naomi's heart had only served to scold her. Kyoko's own rejections of Naomi pleas of apology, having been separated for so long. Those balled up feelings now beginning to leak out from her heart. It's no doubt that moving forward is the only option for her. For us. Kyoko too, conflict with her past, still holds their time together close. The wounds which time has inflicted now beginning to heal as both begin to recognize how deep their bonds really are. I'm happy for you. Responding softly with a smile, Naomi moves ahead of me towards the doors of the hall, spinning around before speaking softly once again.
Thank you.
This really is her true self, the thing that I've been looking for all this time. This is the real Naomi I wanted to see.
thought you were here to join the science.